Welcome home. We are in Catonsville. I'm Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, and we were Towson, Baltimore, but today we're Catonsville. We're West Side. We're doing the Maryland Food Bank, a cup of Super Bowl, 10 times the cash from our Maryland Lottery. One for you, Bill Cole. One for you, none for me because I'm ineligible, but you can come get them. I've a whole other book of these, Bill. Roz gave me like hundreds of these. Bill Cole joins us now from Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy. Also our sponsors along with Window Nation. Raskin Global, he's sunning himself in Hawaii right now. And our friends at Jiffy Lube Multicare. You usually join me on Wednesdays. We fought a little bit last week, didn't we? A little bit?
Yeah, I've been getting a little bit of feedback on that by, the 2 or 3 people I forced to listen to it. So, yeah.
We had a patriotism debate, and I brought it up 3 different times. I sort of feel bad that it went in that direction, but I love you. We have to argue about these things.
But the actual conversation about the ownership change of the Orioles seems to be very positive. That's all the feedback I'm getting is that.
Oh, nobody remembered the bad parts? This is the good parts?
Correct.
I love that part of me when they do that.
Yep.
Just remember the good things I did.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
The Maryland Zoo used to be the Baltimore Zoo. I've been going there my whole life. It's no secret that when my wife had cancer 10 years ago, the man who saved her life was obsessed with penguins, West African penguins. I then found out that we have the largest collection of West African penguins anywhere outside of West Africa. And the next thing I know, we're zoo people. And, I've zoomeranged. I've brewed at the zoo. I've brewed at the zoo. Brewed and brewed. I've done all the ooze. And Kirby Fowler used to do things in the city and do good things here and bringing people together. And somehow, like Hutchinson, they retired you up there with all the animals to lord over them and make sure they stay safe in Druid Old Park. So I've done St. Francis Neighborhood Center this week. So I've done things in your neighborhood.
Yes.
So I've gotten
We're
all
partnering
around.
with them.
How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
All right. We got friends here. We got Bill's here. We got all sorts of people. Introduction. I don't know her role.
Sure. We have Shannon Brown, who's our Vice President of Strategy and Development.
Vice President. I'm that for my company, too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do it all, though. But I want that title.
Well, it's really alluring. I don't know that you want it. But
Well, I think for the zoo, you guys have done a great job of trying to get people out, and it's sort of the one and only. And every time I go, I'm like, I didn't know they had that. I think it's something that you tried to build on that if you haven't been in a while, you go and you're like, oh, look at what they did here. And, Bill, you would say that's because of people like you and own businesses and people that contribute and people come out and people that are part of it. It's a part of civic pride, the Maryland Zoo.
Yeah, I think, if anything, if we can focus this conversation, Ness, it's about the future and the exciting future that Kirby is forming at the zoo.
Well, he knows everybody in town.
I don't know that,
Not everybody.
I don't know how people interact with things that don't necessarily have this projection of what it's going to become. Like, we love this, we're going here, and I mean that's the story that we want to tell today.
Can I mention something?
It's pretty amazing.
You can mention anything you want.
Bill Cole is on our board of directors, board of trustees, one of our great leaders.
I trust him.
So we're wonderful to have his experience and also his dedication. So I just got to start off with that.
Very kind, thank you.
The last time I had you on, we were doing vegan crab cakes, right?
Yes,
at the Land of Kush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
They're delicious, by the way. They're different. They don't taste just like a crab cake. They taste. You won't not finish it. You'll start it. And you'll be like, oh, that's weird. You'll put down like that's really weird.
It was very good.
Hey, that's pretty good. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, it wasn't a crab cake, but it kind of satiated me, especially if you're shellfish intolerant, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
The
more than
texture
anything
was
else.
good.
But it's not a crab cake, right?
No.
Okay.
No, and I don't even know what it's made of.
Like
Don't
a
put me on the
bean
spot.
cake?
No,
It's gotta be a bean,
no.
some sort of-
It's
right?
made of some vegetable that I've never heard of in any. I literally will have to go back and watch it again because I don't know
Impossible
what it was.
crab or something like
Jackfruit.
that.
No, not like that. All right, so I did a vegan crab cake with John Shields, the legendary John Shields, who's my relative, by the way, at Gertrude's, and his was made of zucchini. This was not zucchini, the thing they're doing over there. It almost crunched like it had shells in it, like in a good way, like it almost had that authenticity that you want.
Okay.
What's going on, Shannon, at the zoo? Are we still doing brew at the zoo?
yeah, we do tons of stuff. So Brew at the Zoo is our largest single fundraiser of the year, which always takes place Memorial Day weekend. It's 2 days, 6 bands, 80 different drinks on tap. So that's a huge fundraiser for us. But we have tons of little things throughout the year. Actually, this weekend we have 2 flamingo events. So it's a Galentine's Day drag brunch, and so there's live drag performances, lots of animal
Somebody
demos.
promoted this on the show last week. They told me about Galentine's.
It's incredible, yeah.
Somebody last week on the show mentioned Galentine's
A lot
to
of
me.
people are talking about
That's
it.
fantastic.
That's how I know
Can they buy
about it, because
tickets?
nobody uses that term. That's your term, right?
I stole it from Parks and Rec, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, but somebody told me they're doing a Galentine's thing over there. Somebody that knew you told me, say, oh, the Kirby, and I forgot who it was.
That's okay.
But anyway, you're here.
Yeah, so we're having that, which is we started this about. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I want you to sound good. I don't want Bill to stop breathing into his mic, so I'm going to have that. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect.
Breathe less,
I've been doing this a
Bill.
while.
Okay.
You can breathe all you want,
I
just not
won't
into
breathe,
the mic. It might
sorry.
be Kirby
I'm just
breathing.
gonna
It's not
stop
me, but go ahead.
But so actually on
I'm sorry.
Valentine's Day next week,
That's
we're
Halloween.
holding.
Wrong holiday. Sorry about that. The heavy breathing, the
Got it.
killer.
We're not there
Right.
yet.
Exactly.
That's
We're not
okay.
there yet. But we don't need you to make Valentine's noises either.
I need to make love sounds. Right, that's fine.
That was funny.
Please don't.
But so next week on Valentine's Day, we're hosting an event called Sex at the Zoo, and it's an evening for adults, but it is cocktails, lots of heavy
Is
apps.
Curio Wellness participating in this?
We are working to participate with Curio Wellness, but not for Sex at the Zoo
Maybe
this year.
I thought it was Wendy that brought this up, because I talked to her about the product OOH that is
Yeah.
all sorts of balm, lotions, all
Yeah.
that, but it's an aphrodisiac oil.
We
Didn't
should be
make
talking
I
to
mean, I
her.
like Wendy, so it wasn't an uncomfortable conversation. She said that people come into her cannabis shop, they're more likely to talk about like really gross stomach things they're trying to get rid of or
Yeah.
sleep than they are. But like she's got this product. I thought it might have been her bringing you up.
We do
It
know
might have
her.
been.
We know her.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
it
trying to
might have
partner
been
with her.
her.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm trying to, like, now my mind's like Galentine's and sex and love and
Our
animals.
marketing
and, like,
is
all that.
working. That's what I'm hearing.
One of the really neat nights of my marriage, my wife would tell you this. We've been all over the world, had romance and stuff. One night I heard about a thing at your partner rival at the aquarium, right? The aquarium did a love night on Valentine's night one night. I got wind of it like 3 days before. You know, I lived at the heart. It was 15 years
that's
ago.
right.
And I told her, I'm doing something with you tonight. We went to Amici's for dinner, and it wasn't all that romantic. And then on the way back, I'm like, we're going into the aquarium. And we walked in, and it was literally an evening of chocolate and wine and sort of the mating characteristics of the animals. And you
Yeah.
walk around. And I was like, well, this was kind of cool. You know, anybody could do a candlelight dinner at the Beaumont, you know. But doing something around the
Yeah.
animals, that's kind of cool.
There's some
And-
bizarre stories.
Well, and our whole goal is to, allure people in a way that is really interesting and makes them want to come through the gates. But then we're education and conservation at our core. So Sex at the Zoo will have an incredible presentation on animal
Can't
courtship
say
and
that.
mating. I know.
It's AM radio.
I'm sorry.
She said the S word.
But yeah, so we're always looking for compelling ways to get people in. We have a St. Patrick's Day festival coming up in a few weeks, a glow-in-the-dark egg hunt for adults later that month, so tons of stuff.
Oh, you can't just say glow in the dark. What?
No. We're not
It's
going
so
to.
commonplace.
No.
It's so commonplace at the zoo.
So one of the important things is we need people to then come ask questions, right?
Well, that's
so
what I'm
they
here
have
for.
a website.
No,
and-
what is that?
The website.
No.
Yeah.
What is this?
MarylandZoo.org.
I've admitted that I've cried a couple times this week, but I've admitted that like I never had a light bright as a boy. You know what I'm saying?
We can fix
I
it.
bought this week, and now I don't
It's
know how
very
to
close.
use it. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking of things that like I never got to do. I never got to do an Easter egg hunt when I was a kid, so maybe this is my chance.
Yeah, you can-
Absolutely.
What is this?
So we have an egg hunt that takes place throughout the campus. It's in the evening, so the eggs do actually glow in the dark. And the eggs, there's thousands of them. There's either a prize slip in there that you will redeem for a prize, and it's cool stuff. There's concert tickets. There's like Stanley Cups and all the things but we work with local companies and nonprofits to get things donated, and so there's over 100 prizes that day. But you actually hunt for the eggs throughout the zoo, so you get to see some of the animal exhibits. Some animals will be out. It's late, so not a lot. Don't buy the tickets to see the animals. We will have
If my wife finds out about this, she is a hunter and gatherer. She will be there after dark. She will do everything she can do to get 9 of these eggs.
Yep.
And next thing you know, we'll be on some trip on some boat or something.
Yeah, and the tickets are affordable. It's like $35, and it serves as a fundraiser for the zoo. So it's lots of fun. Tickets are limited. We sell out at 500, and I think we're already halfway there, and we just launched last week.
This Galentine's thing, this is outside at the zoo in February.
So Galentine's is indoors, but
Okay.
Glow will be outdoors, and that's at the end of March.
I was gonna say, don't be a wuss, man. The animals are outside too. You know what I mean? You can make it a couple hours, put a jacket on.
I
Yeah.
agree.
It's been a little more mild around here. How are you making out, man? Last time I talked to you, you were new at the zoo. That's like the new zoo review coming right at you. Remember that one?
Yes,
You're
I
not
remember
old
that.
enough. You remember
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Remember that
I'm
hippo?
old.
Freddie
Yes,
the Owl.
yeah.
She's like, what the hell?
And
I
Henrietta?
mean,
Henrietta? Is that the
Henrietta Hippo.
There
right?
we go, gotcha.
Freddie the Owl.
Yeah.
And then Charlie. Charlie was the owl. Freddie was the frog.
Frog. Yeah, Freddie the
right,
frog.
Right, exactly.
It's okay.
The
Have we
news
bored
review.
everybody? Have we bored everybody?
No,
Certainly me.
I just think this was drugs in the 70s and creative people
Not
that
for the
made
kids,
this
though.
thing. Yeah, they were people in suits in the 70s teaching kids, like Electric Company.
After
or like,
school.
I
It was
remember.
like,
After school specials,
yeah.
or-
It's the News Review. It was Doug.
I know the song, but I'm not
Doug
singing with
and
you.
Emmy Joe. Every day is a different show. Right?
I didn't prepare for this,
Right.
but I know the song.
Well, you run the zoo.
I know the song.
How can you not
I don't
know the
that
Zoo
song.
Review?
Word for word. I'll work on that.
Just-
But anyway, so the zoo.
Well, you
yes.
were new with the zoo.
Improv.
Yeah, so
Make
I'm,
up your own
Yeah, I'm working
song.
on
You're
it.
not new anymore, right?
No, so
3
actually I'm
years?
about to hit my fourth year. Yeah, April.
Close.
Yeah. So 4 years in. But during that time period, we've been able to launch this new master plan. Can I talk about that for a moment? It's great. Some great
Does
stuff.
it involve penguins?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Well, our zoo always involves penguins.
Right.
It involves penguins. By the way, aren't you the guy who talked to me about the Dundalk Mall, East Point, had penguins in it? Did you
Yes.
talk to me
We
about that?
did. That is
Yes.
correct.
We did talk about that.
We did talk
So
about
the penguins are critical to us.
Okay, well, they were critical to East Point Mall. I don't know who took care of them, though. That's the part that weirds me out. Who cared for penguins in 1972 in Dundalk? That worries me. Because I know the people who care. Well, I know you, and I knew Don, and I know zoos, and I watched the channel with the Cincinnati,
Yeah.
with the hippopotamus that everybody wants to go see, right?
Fiona.
Fiona, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I see, those TV shows do an unbelievable job of the amount of love, science, care, caregiving, relationships between caregivers and animals, all the stuff. You go to SeaWorld once and you're like, how do they make them do that? Well, like, there's a whole team of people that get up every day to keep these animals alive and well,
Yeah.
so we can go out there and love them up.
In addition, the work they do here, they can take to the actual locations where wild penguins exist. So we actually are the key partners in South Africa in a wild location trying to make sure the populations of penguins continue to exist. There's been such a drop, sadly, over the past several years. We've seen pictures before and after of the same rock that had tons of penguins just 4 or 5 years
What's
ago.
going on?
It's down to...
We don't know?
Well,
Or
we do.
water temperature?
We believe it's partly water temperature, but also competition for food. So the larger fish who used to be able to get more seafood up here are starting to head south and compete with the penguins for food.
And
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
And we're overfishing our coastlines. So that's a huge part of it.
So they have nothing to eat.
They don't have
Yes.
enough to eat. So when you're deciding what seafood to eat, you need to be responsible and look at sustainable seafoods. And like groups like the Monterey Bay Aquarium have Seafood Watch, and you can learn pretty much exactly where your seafood's coming from and make an informed decision, because the decisions where we're spending money, what we're putting in our mouths, it does impact the world around us greatly.
Oh, I agree with that wholeheartedly, but this is a new thing for me, so I'm glad you're telling me about
And we
this.
just started a new center in Namibia as well to help penguins in the wild.
Listen, my wife and the man who saved her life, when we got his bucket list, we first met him, it was important that they did a safari in Africa. So I think that's sort of the next frontier for her. Like, that's going to be her next.
Oh, she would love that.
That's going to be her next.
Yeah.
I'm the other. I want to do Northern Lights, so I'll stay and watch the cat. They'll probably come back with pictures of the Big Five and do all that. But they're going to go find penguins in Africa. That's going to happen.
Good.
You know?
I did my first safari last August. It's something you got to do. I want to see the Northern Lights as well, but I was blown away by the Serengeti.
Bill, you just want to get out of Bel Air, right? Basically, for
I'm
something
actually-
other than a roofing
I'm
conference.
actually fairly content being at home these days. Like I'm kind of okay with that.
You don't want to go on safari?
Not in the immediate future.
We'll get 'em
The
there.
only
Maybe
safari
one
he's doing
day.
is the Beach
Maybe
Boys
one
surfing
day.
safari. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the only way to
Maybe
do it.
one day.
We'll
Come on,
get
take a
Bill to
ride
Africa.
with me. You know.
Yeah.
Shannon Brown is here. Kirby Fowler is here. By the way, how many Kirbys do you meet in any given year, day?
Outside of
hold
my
on,
family?
You meet Shannon's, you meet Williams and Bill's. I get you confused with the other Bill Cole. He got pissed at me the other day because I shared that Patriot thing you and I did, and he got blamed for it. He's like, you keep sharing the wrong Bill Cole. And
Nice.
yeah. So anyway, how many Kirbys?
In my family, a few, but outside of that, not many.
There's a Kirby right over there.
I went to high
Puckett?
school with a Kirby.
Kirby's a manager here at State Fair.
No way.
Yeah, there's a Kirby. I was going to bring you on together, and then you brought Shannon, and then Bill. I don't have a microphone for him, and he's like fixing dinner.
It seems like a missed opportunity.
But there
I'm
is a
sorry.
Kirby here.
Yes, maybe later.
Well, I'm going to have you meet a Kirby.
Okay,
He
good.
knows a female Kirby, he said, but not a male Kirby.
I know a female Kirby who took my Twitter feed before I could get it. She took what I wanted.
There is
She's
another
down in
Nestor
Texas.
Aparicio in the world.
Are you sure?
And when I first went on Facebook, there's a guy in upstate New York, and his name's Nestor Aparicio, and mine's Nestor J. So I don't think he had a different initial the way he put himself up. So he started getting in my feeds like 10 years ago, and he's a maniac. Like, he's just sports crazy-ish on my, and people think it's me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a dupe in hell. It was a real dude. And I'm like, dude, like I don't know you, and I'll be friends with you, but you cannot impersonate me with dumb sports comments on my Facebook page.
But no offense to this Kirby.
I have other people to do that, not name me, that will fake being me. You know? This is a Kirby.
Yeah, but no offense, but I want to be the only Kirby around. So.
Well, either he has to leave or you. It's
Thank
a one
you.
Kirby bar is what we're doing here. Kirby Fowler, tell me what you used to do and how that helps you do what you do.
Yeah, so for 16 years, I was at the Downtown Partnership of Baltimore, and in some ways there's so much overlap. First of all, nonprofit management, so that's clearly what I can take to the zoo. The connections you talked about before, but just the love of creating a destination. In downtown Baltimore, you had to create a destination and invite people in. In some ways, it's so much similar to a zoo. You want to invite people in, have a quality experience for them, and keep on building, keep on doing new things. So that's why we have some new habitats that we're planning under our master plan.
What's master plan? Hold on.
Sure.
So we're resetting. Bill calls it master plan.
We've
Go
been
ahead.
trying to get to the master plan for 20
I want to get to the
minutes.
master plan.
We need to get to the master plan.
It's going to be quick.
It's about the future.
Yes.
It's really exciting.
Why would the master plan be important?
Well, you need a guiding principle that is. Sorry, you go.
Are you asking Bill?
No.
Is this a test?
I think what it is it sets the direction, and it gets everyone aligned, and then we have something far off in the distance that we're working towards.
This is a leadership part of our programming. Is what we do.
Yeah.
So anyway, master plan. Go for it.
Yes. So our predecessors at the zoo, first of all, we've been around for almost 150 years. But over the past 20 years, 30 years, we've evolved in such a positive way to move animals out of these small habitats that people still recall from Main Valley and to much better habitats, much more open habitats.
It used to be a cage.
Yeah, small cages.
I mean, I went
Terrible.
to San Diego Zoo in the early 80s, and it was like the first moat. It was the
Yeah,
place where you literally could get a picture of the animal without, like, a cage in the way. And it looked like, hey, I went to Africa because it looked that way, right?
It's like our Penguin Coast, exactly like our Penguin Coast. But we need to bring back Main Valley. It's the first part of the zoo. It's the first 30% of the zoo, and it's been shut down for 20 years. We need to bring that back. Yeah, it went down 2004 is when the Main Valley stopped being a destination at our zoo. So we're going to bring that back. So when people enter the zoo, they'll be able to experience animals right away. Animals like gibbons, stellar sea eagles, which are our beautiful predator eagles from, I think, Siberia. From Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going there to see them. I'm going to Truro Park.
Yeah, exactly. But gibbons are these incredible lesser apes. This is a terrible term, lesser apes. But they have this amazing call that can be heard for 2 miles distance. They can swing from the vines. And we're trying to create the same type of dynamic experience where there's no mesh, no caging, and there's a moat. Because gibbons can't swim. So we're going to create a little moat, and we'll have that immersive experience the minute you walk into the zoo.
So something shock and awe the minute you walk in.
You've got to have that. You've got to have that.
You'll hear them before you walk through the gates.
Yeah,
Shannon, what's your background in zoos? And I would think the only way to, I don't know, maybe it's wrong because I don't sit around and listen to sports radio to figure out how to be good at it. But if I took your job 4 years ago and Hutchinson said, hey, you're the guy, we'll do this, I'd be like, let me go to 100 zoos and figure out what they're doing because I've only been to, a handful of zoos. I don't know what they do in other places, right? I don't go to the other zoos, but I do see them on TV. The Bronx Zoo had his thing, Cincinnati thing, San Diego. I've been to the Wild Animal Park out there 35 years ago, and now I see it, what it looks like now on television in high def. That's done a wonderful thing for letting people see what goes on, but how do you know that you want shock and awe? What are they? If I go to the Bronx Zoo, what do they have at the front door,
Well, I think in terms of figuring out what people want, we try to do a really proactive approach of asking. So we do lots of surveys for our guests, our members, event participants. So we ask, but we also do have incredible partners within the AZA community who have either been established a little bit longer than us or have...
And that's the Association of Zoos and Aquariums.
So we have some really great examples, but we also, through the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, a cohort of professionals who are all working to kind of identify best practices that our keepers bring back to us, those of us on the administrative side bring back. So my background is in nonprofit fundraising and event production, so I come from with the perspective of revenue generation and different ways to get people in the gates. So that's my background, but...
that is shock and awe, though. That's creating attention and saying, you've seen the animals once, but you need to come back and see them again. What dictates that you do an exhibit? I mean, obviously money, this, that, but with obtaining the animals, the care for the animals, they're all special and different, and what they eat and all of that. when you say we're going to have this new exhibit, where do the soup to nuts? Where do those animals come from, and how do we get them here and how do we keep them alive?
That's a great question. So first of all, just the habitat design, we're starting to invite our animal teams into the discussion. So early on, you know how to design the habitat for the keepers as well as the animals. But in terms of where the animals come from, so we mentioned the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We're a part of this accreditation group, and if we get accredited, as we always do, we get blue ribbon. We're a blue ribbon zoo because we're the best of the best. And we're part of this great network, and we all share data on animals. And this thing called Species Survival Plan, there's people planning every day on how to swap animals, transfer animals within the United States and Canada and beyond
and
for the benefits of biodiversity.
When they ship them, and you see what goes on. I mean, I don't have to ask you about some of this stuff because I've seen it done. My wife loves animals. She's got animal planet. Like, I see all of this, but I don't. The business side of it is, hey, we're going to do a new exhibit. I'm like, where do they, where do they have a farm for these things I've never heard of? These lesser apes.
And the important thing with zoos as a whole, especially accredited facilities, is that the goal in a perfect world, zoos wouldn't exist, right? But there are really big impacts that humans have on the planet. So what we do in the zoo world is essentially to create a population, a safeguard for if the animals are facing extinctions in the wild.
Noah's Ark.
Exactly.
A little bit.
Yeah. And so in terms of when we're shifting animals in and out, it can be dependent on the type of team that you have. If we have a team that is really well versed in penguins, like which we do, we are considered, a prime candidate to be bringing in penguins. There are facilities all over the country that have those identifiers, but the goal is to be building up the populations of endangered species in the wild in like a break-in case of emergency scenario.
And to benefit genetics and biodiversity.
Yep.
So the gibbons that we would get would be a breeding pair, and hopefully they'll have offspring that we could perhaps transfer to other zoos. We don't import animals from Africa or other countries much. We transfer within the United States from other zoos.
Understood.
And there are instances where like an animal was hurt in the wild that comes in as a rehab and might end up staying because they can't be released. We have a resident bald eagle whose name is Vega, who was hurt in the wild. She was showing signs of neurological just differences and couldn't fly because she couldn't judge distances. And so through a partnership with DNR, Vega came to us and has worked on rehabilitative work throughout the last several years with us. And now she's starting to glide and show promise to fly. She'll never go back in the wild, but so sometimes it can be different. It can be an animal. We have 2 grizzly bears who's became orphaned a number of years ago, and they'll be at our facility forever.
Mother abandons them or
she was hunted. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So and all these animals have a story, right?
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I've learned as I watch is you'll bring an animal in and it has to assimilate, much like the new kid in town, like right,
well,
like, and because there is a pack mentality about all that. Much like I have a cat at home, and I'm afraid of bringing a second cat because I'm like, I don't want to F this one up. This one's perfect. Will they get along? Right?
So building on Shannon's point, so we just worked with the Department of Natural Resources to bring a baby otter who got separated from her mother in Harford County. And so we were hoping to make sure she didn't have too much interaction with humans because they imprint, and they become too used to being with humans. Unfortunately,
you didn't know any of this when you were running downtown Park.
Not at all.
You know a lot. That's what I meant. You had a curve here.
Yeah. So we did our best. Our team did our best to keep separate from the otter, but she's still imprinted. So now she's going to be part of our collection. We tried to see if other zoos would take her, but they couldn't. But she's now part of our collection. So this is that perfect example where we're helping these animals in the wild, but sometimes they have to come in for quarantine and start to connect with the rest of our other otters. So right now we're trying to make sure, does she connect with our male otter? We just brought another female otter in. So how do the 3 interact? It's very complicated.
It's fascinating.
The behavioralists on our team, they are thinking about this every single day, how to get these animals to connect.
And then mate if you bring a boy and a girl in so that you could have an animal there for the next 20 years, right?
Well, that's an interesting point because mating is a really strategic operation in a zoo. Just because we have a male and a female, there might not be a breeding recommendation. What you don't want is having what's deemed, it's my favorite term, is like genetically invaluable offspring. So you could have offspring that would actually hurt the larger population of pool, and you want to make sure that you're managing that. So these animals across the country within zoos, the genetics are so closely monitored. We know exactly how many reticulated giraffes there are in the AZA community, and there's a stud book, so you know where they came from, you know the family tree, and it's so critically important.
Like horses, like a lineage.
Yeah, it's important
sure,
to know that so that you don't have these animals that are then overbred and have medical conditions that you have to then treat. And so it's really complex but super interesting, and I love telling people.
So tell everybody where they can learn about all this sex and animal stuff, because this is that week,
That
right?
specifically.
Well, not that.
Different.
You're doing sex at the zoo. You told me this.
Yeah.
You know?
Slightly different theme.
Absolutely.
Don't say that too loud.
We have a really robust webpage at marylandzoo.org, so you can find out everything about our events, our conservation programs, which animal habitats that we have on site. Our marketing team does an incredible job keeping our website up to date.
And leave anything out. Get it all in,
Well,
Kurt.
can we remind people that we are a nonprofit and we are running a state and city-owned property, and we need support all the time to keep our operations going.
So buy
feed
tickets
our
and come out
animals,
and do
feed
all
our
this
animals,
stuff,
train our
yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Buy the tickets, please. Help us out with this master plan. We're looking for support. We're a fantastic asset for the entire state, and I think beyond the state. We hope people will come and see what we're doing.
Still have a reptile house?
No, it's
There
spread
it
out.
is. It's not in the zoo.
It's empty.
Yeah.
Without
It
reptiles.
always freaked me out, the reptile house.
Don't worry,
you know,
we don't have it
go
now.
there,
You're
you know.
good. You're good now.
Fundamentally, Druid Park and the zoo are a gem of the city, right? We lose sight of that. We forget it. We're not there. We don't go.
Right.
Like that's my reason, I guess, for involvement, is a defender of the things that need to be defended, right? A reminder of the things that we need to be reminded about. That's what this is, right? Like Kirby has set, and like we didn't do it justice to talk about the future and the vision and where it's going. I mean, they do a magnificent job today, and where we're going is just going to blow you away, and people won't be able to forget where it is, right? Like you won't be able to forget it because it's so instrumental to the fabric of the city. You know, it's not in the Inner Harbor. You got to remember where we are, right? Like
It's not on the bus line even in that way. It's a destination. You gotta come,
foundation.
you know?
It's a piece of the foundation of the city, and if you haven't been there, you need to get back because it's just phenomenal.
Well, we try to get there once a year. I saw, full disclosure, but I'm going to look at the calendar and figure we never have a bad time at the zoo. I mean, we just don't. I mean, because of the kind of events. The last time I was out there, my son drinking beer out of steins, and the Amish Outlaws are playing at the foot of the hill.
You want to know the secret?
I know the deal.
Yeah.
You want to know the secret? This is the secret. When it's like not super cold, but kind of chilly, and it's raining, go. Because the volunteer staff that are there are always there, okay? And when you go on that day, you get access to them like no other time. There's no one else. They will tell you everything you ever wanted to imagine or know about
Is he
those
sending me to your
animals.
zoo on a rainy day?
I'm
I'm going to go when it's
telling
sunny,
you,
dude. Sorry.
The
You can go
animals'
both.
behaviors
I'm not
are
getting in the middle
different.
of
I'm
that.
telling you,
I'm not
I'm
getting in the middle of
telling
this.
you, some of the best days
Yeah.
that I've ever been there were rainy, chilly days. It's not crowded. The animals, to your point, behave differently.
I have a memory
Like,
of
it's
that.
fascinating.
I was at the San Diego Wild Animal Park 30 years ago, and I may say it never rains in Southern California. Like a storm came. There was literally a storm coming, and the giraffes, and it was like it's just giant. It looks prehistoric. I mean, it's just a giant area. It looks like where Fred Flintstone worked, It looks like a quarry almost. And, man, I saw, like, the animals running. At what you talk about in Africa.
Yeah.
I had a moment 30 years ago during a rainstorm of these animals, like, freaking out and running. And I was on the little tram on the outside. And San Diego, it never rains.
Yeah.
But I was there one day. And so I saw. So I do have a memory of that.
It is just, fine. Go when it's sunny. I don't care. Go both, really,
Shannon
is what we're
Brown's there all
talking
the
about.
time. Kirby Fowler's, you would not be the only Kirby there if Kirby came over to the zoo.
I'd welcome him.
We'll talk.
I'm kidding. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to
Well, it
meet
is
him.
outdoors. She wouldn't be in the same room.
That's a good point.
I haven't had a whole lot of nesters, dude. Yeah, I'm 55. I got like 3 or 4 nester sightings.
Okay.
And it's always weird when it happens. So,
Yes.
hey, I'm Nestor. We're doing the crab cake row, a cup of Super Bowl. Did you guys get some soup? Bowl? Cup of Super Bowl.
I'm getting a salad. It's over there right now.
All right.
Oh, there's a soup.
I
There's
had
a
eggs
soup.
and bacon.
There's
The
the soup.
soup's delicious over there. They got some Maryland crab. The Maryland Lottery puts this thing on 10 times the cash. Big appreciation to them for giving us all these lottery tickets to give it. I got to walk through the room and just give lottery tickets out for a while. We're going to be at Pappas on Friday of 9 to 5. We're here until 5 in Catonsville. Bill Cole was supposed to ride shotgun, but here's the problem, dude. You and I talk every week, and you invite all these cool guests, and you don't get a word in edgewise.
That's okay.
And when it's over with,
Totally
it
okay with
won't
it.
be okay when it's over. You'll say, you didn't let me talk enough.
I don't ever complain about that. If I complained about that, I would never come on with you. I complain every time. So I don't. I'm okay. I accept it for what it is.
It's a good thing there's a lady here.
all
It
good.
would be a problem.
It's all good.
Lady-ish.
Bill Cole, Shannon Brown, and Kirby Fowler, Baltimore Zoo, Maryland Zoo. I said Baltimore Zoo. I knew I was going to mess that
It's
up.
okay.
It's okay.
I did that for 40 years, man. Like, how long have you been to Maryland Zoo?
2007.
I did that for 40 years, just like it's 39 years. How about that? All
Good,
right.
good.
Well, I've been going all my life. You should get out there, and especially, it's especially good when beer's involved and there's like friends and music and fun. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
you could take your iPod and put your things in, and you still have
And go in the
It'll
rain.
still be a
And
great
go
day.
in the rain.
Yeah.
and go in the rain and think of Bill Cole roofing. Bill, who's next?
there's
What do we
time.
got? Tell everybody what's up.
Center for Hope. Adam Rosenberg's coming up. We got the Sisters Academy.
When I dream
They're
this whole
coming
thing up, Bill's like, I'll stack that Thursday show over at State Fair.
Yeah.
We'll have potato
Getting
chips
deep.
and sandwiches. God, the food looks great, and I'm getting friggin' hungry. All right, I'm going to take a
Okay.
break. Back for more. Well, bring us food. Bring us canned goods. Bring us things for the Maryland Food Bank. Carmen Delquetcher made me cry at 9 o'clock this morning here, talking about my dad, talking about food insecurity and hunger. I'm going to try not to cry anymore this afternoon. Who's going to make me cry today? You know what happened? John and Rollo sat here. He went to the other state fair. He went to Timonium. He said, I'm in Timonium. Where are you? So he came over. We did show your soft side. But then our Little League teammate heard us talking about our Little League experience and showed up. And
Nice.
all he's ever done is work with special needs people. So he's a special human.
Right.
So I got one extra charity in. You got any more charities you want to promote? I'm trying to get to
Bonus.
100.
Just the Maryland Zoo.
That's it.
Charity.
Center for Hope. We'll support the Center for Hope.
All right, we're going to promote more of Bill Cole stuff. Stay with us. We're over here at Catonsville at State Fair. Come by. They have good Bloody Marys here, too. Stay with us.